Hey YouTube, it's your boy Widgie here, coming at you with some more strategy games with Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition, and today we are playing the Chinese. Now, I don't see a lot of people putting content out for China. You know, everyone knows that on the 1v1 ranked ladder, and definitely on team games and everything, that, you know, China are one of the weakest civs. But you know what, I thought I'm going to start giving them a go, and I'm going to start providing you guys with some awesome content. So we have the first video up, and that is China versus Russia. So we had a great defense in this video, so I hope you guys really enjoy it. You guys know what to do to support the channel. If you like the video, show your support with a thumbs up, and also you can catch me streaming on Twitch at Widgie1. Let's do it. Okay guys, we're in the game. I forgot to mention this is going to be a replay analysis, or just a replay run through really, of me giving you some commentary on the game. We are against Win Reaper, and I'm an ELO rank of around 1160, if you guys wanted to know. And without further ado, let's do this. So I've recently played a game against a Chinese opponent when I was playing the Indians, I believe. And I wanted to know what this guy was doing. I wanted to know his build. I wanted to, you know, it just sort of inspired me to pick up China again. Because if you haven't seen it, I had a video that I put out where I played and learned China in a 1v1 situation, and that was like one of my first ever videos when I was doing Age of Empires 3 stuff. And I thought, I'm going to make a return and I'm going to give them a go again and see how powerful they can really be. So I'm going to run through the sort of build order that I'm doing here, and my opening and the decisions that I've made, and how the game goes pretty much. So sit tight, grab some popcorn if you got it, and let's do this. So first thing is, I'm going to be building a village, and I'm going to be chopping that extra wood to build a second village. Now sometimes you can just build one and then build a TP. I could have done that in this case because the TP isn't far away, but instead I decided to build a second village. Now if you guys don't really know the Chinese that well, because I mean, let's face it, not a lot of people do play China in the competitive scene, so you might not be familiar with all of the units and buildings and the general strategy, but the village will provide you with, I believe it's 20 pop. Yeah, 20 population. So it provides you double of a normal house. And you can also garrison in these villages. So it's good for if you're getting raided, you can put villagers in there. And also you can use herdables to feed from it. So it's sort of like a livestock pen, essentially, as well, which is also really good. So multi-use. And also our explorers are really awesome because they're awesome sort of Shaolin monks and masters, and they just sort of karate chop all of your treasure, which is damn awesome. And you sort of want to treat them like you treat them with the Ellies. You kind of want to move the Ellies around, sort of, you know, or move the disciple and the Shaolin monk sort of together, but not constantly, not close together. You kind of want to spread them apart a little bit, and then when you find a good treasure, home in on it and have both of them take it down, which is exactly what I'm doing here. So once I've chopped the wood, I'm just going to switch straight over to food, and we're just going to get 800 food so we can get into age 2. It's pretty simple, really. And my guy's called G-Sum Sim C. That's pretty awesome. I wouldn't like to say that too many times. So we are getting our first card, and I'm just going to pause it. I'm going to show you my deck. So this is my 1v1 land deck, and I believe the majority of this is from Aussie Drongo's Discord server. So I do use a lot of his decks as a starting point, and then when I start to learn the Civ more, I can start sort of chopping and changing it and doing whatever I want. But this is the 1v1 land deck. We're using the first card here, Northern Refugees, which gives us that muster of one villager per every village or town centre that you have. So in this case, it's going to be giving us 3 villagers. And that's another reason why you build 2 villages, is because you can get that extra vill. As I say, it depends. Sometimes people like to do the one house and then the TP, because it can help if you're going like Fast Fortress and you need to get your shipments out, but it's entirely up to you how you want to play it. I would say the safer way is going for the second village. And here you go. I have actually sent a villager all the way out there to start herding, because we are playing against Russia. And what does Russia mean? It means, most of the time, it means rush. You know, the clue is in the name of the Civ. At this level, this sort of intermediate level, around 1,000, maybe, well, anything between 800 and maybe 1,300 ELO, most of the time your Russian opponent is going to be putting a forward base out, and they're going to be trying to, you know, be pretty aggressive with you and push your base. So you've got to make sure that you herd your huntables. You herd them or lure them, or I don't even know what the word is. I always forget the word, but you know what I mean. Draw them to your TC so you don't get raided. So I'm just sort of scouting around here, seeing what's up. And it is a shame I didn't catch these on stream in live action. I know you guys like to watch me in like live doing this, but also I like to have this sort of replay effect, because then I can sort of talk you through how I did this, because I played this game a few hours ago, so it's very fresh in my mind still. So yeah, anyway, look, I've gone over 800 food now. I should be building it, and we are going to be building the Summer Palace. So the Summer Palace, it automatically spawns banner armies, and this is one of the main things with China, is that your military units are in groups. So, and they're called banner armies. So you don't, for example, like when you train a musketeer unit, you can just train that type, and you can only train 5 in one go. With a banner army, you can maybe train 5 or 6 different units in one go, maybe 4, and they will be different unit types. So that's one of the main sort of things to get your head around with China. To be honest, I think the issue with this Civ for a lot of new players is the micro skill with the units, because you're going to have to be hotkeying many different types of units, and you do not want to lose certain units in a fight and just chuck all of the units in. Anyway, you can see here that I'm taking the treasure over there, and I spot 2 settlers. So I spot the 2 settlers there moving out to build that base, and they actually take my treasure. Look at that. The settlers steal my treasure. What I could have done here is continue to harass the villagers and maybe stop him building a forward base. But instead I sort of just leave them to it, and I think at that point they probably walk back and build their base. So I've got 4 people building the Summer Palace. That's the ideal number of villas that you want. And I believe for the age 3 wonder, it's 7 villages. You want to kind of put 7 villas on that. You can see I'm still luring or herding the... Is it luring the huntables? I'm going to say luring. I don't know if that's right. So you get some resources. I think you get 400 food from the age up there. And I've still got some villagers on wood. And what you kind of want to do here, what I am doing here, there's multiple ways that you can go with China. Quite a versatile Civ. But what I'm doing here is I sort of make a macro switch here, and you'll see it. So what I'm doing at the moment is, you can see I've still got people chopping wood. And the reason is that in my mind, I want to go for the Old Han Army Banner Army. Old Han Army Banner Army. The Old Han Banner Army, which is essentially costs you food and wood. So you only really need to macro for food and wood unless you want to start getting to H3, and then you need to sort of move over to some gold. So at this moment, you can see I'm on 10 food, 7 wood. So in my head, I want to get the Old Han Banner Army, which is essentially the Chu Canoe and the Pike. So just infantry heavy. You've got your skirmisher unit and you've got your pike unit. So it's not a bad unit composition, and this can be used to put early aggression on your opponent. But judging by who we're playing against, a Russian player, we're going to be expecting the early aggression to come from them. So that's the situation. And I think to myself here, why go Old Han when I can go the Standard Army? Standard Army is 2 Steppe Riders and 3 Chu Canoes. And the 2 Steppe Riders, they're not bad. They're normally good against villages and buildings, but you can use them against skirmishers. They're one of the weakest cav units, but if I think about the Russian composition, I'm thinking maybe Strelet with the Cossacks, which is your skirmisher and your cav. Or potentially go Musk as well. They can go Musk. So I'm thinking maybe the Standard Army is better than the Old Han. And you can see here, I do one batch of Old Han, but then I've completely switched. I've done a macro switch. Can you see? I've now moved 8 villages over to gold. I've still got 3 collecting the wood shipment that I got. So that was the recent shipment that I got, was 700 wood. Sometimes if you want to age up quick, you go 700 gold. Sometimes if you want to raid, you go 7 Steppe Riders. That can be quite good. It's entirely up to you. As I say, very versatile Civ. There's so many different openings you can do with this Civ. I'm just going to be showing you what I do in this game. So you can see I've got a lot of huntables. starting to converge onto the TC, which is really, really good. And we are going to see, spoiler alert, we are going to see some early aggression from the Russians here. So, as I say, this isn't really like a replay analysis. I'm just sort of commentating the game. That's all I'm doing. I'm sort of casting my own game, you could say, and just sort of trying to go through my thought processes and maybe looking at what I did wrong, maybe, but more just looking at the decisions that I made and why I made them. I know that's what a lot of you guys have mentioned in the comments. You want to see videos where, you know, explaining why I made the decisions that I did and stuff like that. And that's sort of what this video is going to be showing you. And there will be definitely more content of China coming up because, you know, there are people out there that do want to play the weaker civs, the ones that aren't played as much. You know, you never know. I might move back to Aztec and try a bit of Aztec because you rarely see them on the competitive ladder, so that could definitely be happening. I got these 7 step riders there, so I am sort of talking a bit here, but the next card that I got was the 7 step riders because I anticipated that he was going to be going quite a heavy Strelet, so I thought to myself the step riders will be quite good with the two canoes, and I built a consulate as well, and I went for Germany. Now, the German allies, you can't really see here, but the German allies will provide a certain eco boost. And with the export that you gather, you can get trickles. So you can get an automatic trickle of either wood or food that you can pick. You can actually pick both once you've got enough export. But, yeah. Getting a consulate is always a good idea because consulates are great for the Asian civs. You know, I mean, I use a consulate a lot for India when I play India. Haven't really played Japan that much, but I know that they're important for Japan. So you can see I spot him building a trading post here. So my step riders are going to come in. They've got a good siege, 25 siege. They easily stop that. And this is where I noticed that he's got a lot of musks. He's got a lot of musketeers here, and that's not what I was expecting. I was expecting more Strelets, which is a shame. So we're going to see how this goes here. And they're the Cossacks there, which I did not notice. So I'm trying to sort of use the step riders here to sort of shield Chu canoes so I can get them back because I do not want to take this fight right now. But you've got to realise, guys, that with Russia, the musketeer units are weaker. They're not like the standard Musk, and I didn't know this. If you didn't know that, then there's a tip for you straight away. You know, the Musk units, they are not as strong as standard Musk units because they are a lot cheaper for the Russians. So don't be too scared if you see a lot more of them. They are not as strong as the standard. So you can see here, I'm simply just macroing food and gold. I'm getting a 700 gold shipment. I've also built the market. When I got my 700 wood card, I built the market and I built the consulate. Just building some infrastructure there, basically. And I'm getting not the imperial bureaucracy, the one before that, which enhances the gather rate of everything. Just to make sure that our eco is doing well. You can see here our score. We're just sort of with the same as Russia. The way that China sort of works is they sort of perform well mid to late game. So don't be too afraid if you're like sub 10 minutes and you're not doing as well as your opponent. Don't worry about that because China ramps up in the mid to late game, you know, especially when you get into age 3, it really does start to ramp up. So do not be concerned if you're not doing as well. So we're getting 700 gold shipment in because I'm thinking to myself, we could try and get into age 3. You know, I've got a decent amount of troops here to defend myself if he does decide to push, and maybe I should take the opportunity now to get into age 3, and then I'll have the upper hand. Because that's a good thing when you're playing against the Russians. They don't tend to want to age up into age 3. They want to try and pressurize you and beat you in age 2. So if you can get into age 3 safely, then you can. So here we go. So the one thing that I sort of want to take away from what's going to be happening here as he moves in is that don't take a fight that you know you're going to lose. I know it sounds stupid, but don't just throw your units away. And I still do this, so I'm not saying that I'm perfect. But in this situation, just stay behind the Summer Palace. It's a big structure. It's 5,000 HP. You know, this village placement here was probably bad. I probably should have put it behind my base or to the left around the herdables, because, you know, he's easily going to try and take that down. So just try and tuck your villages in a defensive position until you get into that age 3 and you start spreading out and you start becoming a bit more of a powerhouse. So yeah, so I sort of moved them back here because I want to pick my fight carefully here, and I want to try and just be a bit careful here with what I'm going to do. Got quite a few Chukanus, but Chukanus are very weak. They've only got 90 HP. I mean, they are going to do damage to these musks, but I think this army here would still take my Chukanus out. I'm just trying to find the right time to strike, and this is a perfect time, right? Look at this right here. So he is stuck between the terrain here and my War Academy, right? My Steppe Riders are coming round to trap them. Now, obviously, the Steppe Riders are going to take quite a bit of damage from the Musketeers because they do have a... you know, 30 damage per hit to the Steppe Riders. So we are going to lose some, but we're going to sort of sacrifice these to stop this troop of units from escaping, and we're going to push with the Chukanus. So we're going to kind of do like a pincer attack here and see how this goes. Here we go. So we really need to move those Chukanus up. The Cossacks are coming in. Now they're going to try and take my Chukanus down, but I'm going to peel a couple of these Steppe Riders off to try and take them out. And you can see that the Steppe Riders are clearing up the Cossacks. And now we're just surrounding them with the Steppe Riders. And that was a pretty successful engagement. And now we are starting to age up into age 3. So we've just had a really good fight. We've now got the resources to be able to get up into age 3. So we're looking really good right now. And we're still creating villages, always creating villages. And we are building the porcelain tower. So that's our third wonder that we're building. The porcelain tower, I recommend at the moment, like in the early stages of learning China, I really recommend going porcelain tower as your third age up option, because it gives you that auto generation and you can see there what it does for each age. So I think it's best building it in age 3, because in age 3 you get a trickle of 4 wood, which is really, really good. I don't know what the equivalent of that is in villages, but it is significant. So getting that 4 wood is super good. And also, I believe you get XP as well, don't you? Yeah, you do. Oh no, combination you get XP. Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know you actually do that. So there's 4 options with the porcelain tower. You have the combination, you have the food only, wood only, and coin only. Most of the time, I stick it on wood only, because you won't really have to worry about chopping a lot of wood when the porcelain tower is on wood. That will cover you for building extra villages for your pop, because population is going to be a big problem. You know, just like how China is in the real world, you know, China's population is humongous. It's the largest in the world. And it's just like this in this game. You are massing a lot of troops. So you are going to need villages, and you're going to need them fast, because some of the cards that you get in age 3, you get a lot of units. So he spotted my Shaoling Monk here. I sort of lose him here, which is quite bad. I should probably just move him away. I don't know why I didn't. You can use your Shaoling Monk with the Disciples, can be quite a good build. But here, I do get a bit cocky here. And I don't know whether or not I should have waited a little bit. But I did get a card out there to get the pikes. So these pikes here, the Qiang pikemen. That was my next card. Now, on like looking back on this, I probably should have just waited for me to get into the next stage and then pick my next card. Because I could have had 10 arquebusiers, I could have had 11 Changdos, which are your pikemen. You know, I could have gone for the intervention, which would get me a free shipment from my consulate. Like, there's lots of options that I could have gone. And I don't know, maybe going for the 9 pikemen wasn't the best option. But, you know, pike do have relatively good siege. They've got like 30 siege, so they're good at taking buildings down. So we're just going to try and push him now and put a bit of pressure on him. He has gone for Strelitz. Strelitz are like as weak as Chukanus pretty much. I think Chukanus are probably better than Strelitz per unit, but we are getting a little bit pincered here, so I'm going to split the Chukanus to try and cover the fight here. I'm using the pikes to siege down the blockhouse there, which we did. I'm just going to sort of use the pike as like a meat shield for now, because he hasn't got a lot of cav, so I'm going to use him just to essentially attack the infantry. I'm just going to build another village here, and I am going for the intervention card. Now at this point I make a mistake, because really when you send the intervention, most of the time it's best to switch your consulate, which I'm doing here, but I forget to actually select the Brits. The Brits will give you the musketeer units, which are nice. I didn't switch it, which meant I got the Doppel sword units, which are the heavy sort of pike infantry unique unit that you get with the Germans. So that didn't work out very well. So I am switching it up now to the territorial army. This is one of the best combinations, or the sort of the bread and butter of China. Most of the time you're going to be doing this sort of composition. Territorial army is your Changdo with your arquebusier. It's essentially an upgraded version of your old Han army. Okay, so you have territorial army, and then if you want some cav, I tend to go for the green army. I can't remember what the name of it is, but we'll see that I'll start getting them out, and it will be the meteor hammers and the iron flail sort of units, and that's a really good cav unit that you can mix in as well. You can see here that my Summer Palace is still sort of automatically generating the standard army. We've got a lot of food coming in. We probably want to maybe switch some over to... Oh no, we're doing okay on the macro there. That's probably okay actually. Constantly creating villages. And our score is looking pretty good now. We're an age up. And the one thing is, what I can take away from this, if you're playing against China, you do not want to let them... See, look, I've got these units. Like these crazy doppel swords. You do not want to let China get into age 3. You do not want to let them boom. Because when you let China boom, it gets crazy. You know? I mean, you can just see here, like, 28 vils, like, I'm getting the wood from the porcelain tower. I'm pop capped again, so I've got to build another village. This is what I'm saying, like, it goes quick. I've got my disciplined arquebusiers out now. I've got a few step riders just on the outskirts there. I'm going to just scout a bit, see what he's doing. See what's happening here. And you can see he's immediately walling up, right? So he's scared. So he wants to try and wall up. He wants to try and get in Fortress Age. He knows that push has failed. And 9 times out of 10, that means that he's lost the game. You know, with that sort, you've got to be careful with the sort of strategy that you go with the Russians. You know, he sort of the amount of units that he had said to me that he went very all in, and you know he's now bricking it. He's lost the forward base, so he's coming back and he's building those walls up, and that's what we see here. And we're just going to keep making vills. We're going to keep that's the other card that I was saying, the Forbidden Army. Really, really good mixed heavy cavalry army. Great army to accompany your territorial one. Super, super good. And at some point, when I start to learn China a bit more, I will give you guys a beginner guide to the Chinese, because I am enjoying them, you know. And there's definitely more content to come with them, so I hope you guys enjoy that. And you can see here, we're nearly getting to our pop cap again. You know, it's crazy. So we've got our Changdo, we've got our arquebusiers coming out, we've got still some of the Chukanus left over, and he's getting his town centre militia out now. And he's just decided to get some Strelitz. That's probably the best choice for him, but our arquebusiers are going to be way better than his Strelitz. And we're just constantly getting units now out of our barracks. He has got to the Fortress Age. So at this point, I am a little bit scared because I'm thinking to myself, what could he do? He could get 2 falconets, because I believe you can get that with the Russians. So he could get 2 falconets out. I mean, he could get Oprinix. He could get anything out, right? So I just want, at this point, I just want to shut him down. I want to destroy all of his military buildings. I want to wreck his economy. I just want to stop this from happening, essentially. So I'm just, look at all these troops just piling in. You know, this is what I love about China. It starts to get out of hand. I mean, those swordsmen are actually doing work to the Strelets. That's funny. That's really funny. But this guy does kite pretty well with some of his Strelets, to be honest. I mean, you'll see that shortly. He doesn't do a bad job, but he is losing his buildings, and we are just sort of rushing in with tons of pike units, and we've got 10 more arquebusiers coming. We're 5k up on score. I mean, it's not looking the best for him. And that's why I like this sort of playstyle with China at the moment. There's obviously other playstyles you can do, but I like this sort of defensive, sort of turtling in the Age 2, and then in the Age 3. And then the minute you get into Age 3 and you start to get the infrastructure down, you start to get the economy, then you just mass up and you push, you know? It's sort of like the counter-offensive, you know? You see, he's sort of making my units sort of go round and round the houses, essentially. But we are spending our resources well. You know, we're not really racking up a huge amount. You can see that our wood gather there is all from the porcelain tower, so we've got over 300 wood stacked there, so we can definitely maybe build another TC. I've already built a second one, but I could definitely build another one if I wanted to. I think TCs only cost 400 with China, and I think that's with all Asian civs. TCs are like 100 wood cheaper, but don't quote me on that. And the next card that I'm getting out are the Meteor Hammers, which are a really good unit. They're just good against skirmishers, artillery, and you can see here I'm just clearing up, and this is what I see. I saw that there was a fort wagon coming out, so I do not want this game to become a game where the fort is just going to destroy my units. So I do my best here to try and get that taken down, which is what I'm doing here. But I don't know where all of his settlers are. They could all just be in this TC. I honestly don't know. I mean, they're obviously elsewhere on the map, but I haven't looked. I'm just focusing on getting this fort down before it builds. And it is built, but there's only 2,000 health left. And we're going to take that down. And you can see, look at the wood, you know, 600 wood. I've got those Meteor Hammers there. I'm going to bring those over. That came from the shipment. I'm still training up that territorial army. And there it is, guys. There it is. The win. Lovely. Lovely win. So let's have a look at the... let's actually view the map. And let's just quickly look at our opponent here. So our opponent here has 39 vills. I have 33. So he actually has more settlers than me, which is crazy. And you can see that he moved all of his settlers over here to hide, essentially. And he tried walling in. And it didn't work to the best of his ability there. But he did the best he could. And let's have a look at the post-game very briefly. See resources. I gathered more resources overall. Military, the good old China there, 133, outmassing the Russians. And you know what Russians are like. They can get their units in mass as well. So, and there you go, experience pretty much tying up. And that's the unit count there. So, pretty successful. So guys, I hope you enjoyed that sort of, you could call it like a replay analysis of me playing as China versus a Russian opponent. And as I've mentioned before, you're going to be seeing a lot more China content because I don't really see it out there a lot on YouTube and on Twitch and stuff like that. And I thought, you know, I'll give some love to this civ because I think they're quite underrated. Yes, they're maybe classed as one of the weakest civs, but that by no means means that this civ is bad in any way, you know, especially around my sort of bracket, around 1100, 1200 elo. You can definitely do really well with the civ, you know. So I hope you can take something away from this video, guys. Let me know what you think of the video down below in the comments. Show support for this video if you enjoyed this video. I can't really talk, but if you enjoyed this video, leave a like. And as I say, you can catch me streaming on Twitch at Widgie1. Take care.